Good evening. Labour's farcical one-in, one-out deal with France risks completely collapsing because illegal migrants are taking the government to the High Court. Actually, let me rephrase that. Charity workers and human rights lawyers are taking this case to the High Court. Here's what they are reportedly claiming. 1. Illegal migrants are suffering from mental health issues. 2. Some of them might be children. 3. The government isn't using proper age verification checks. 4. Migrants are being kept in prison-like conditions, limiting their access to legal support. Then it goes on. Using physical restraints, including handcuffs, is re-traumatising them. They are also apparently the victims of modern-day slavery and torture. Right, let's pick those apart one by one then, shall we? The claims that these migrants are dealing with mental health issues, firstly. Their mental health is being assessed, in some cases, by a group called Medical Justice. Let's have a look at their website. Yes, on their website, they say their vision and mission is that immigration detention no longer exists in the UK. So is it a surprise that Medical Justice has concluded that loads of these migrants have PTSD, 18 have clinical evidence that they've been tortured, 14 of the group had clinical evidence of trafficking? No, of course it's not, is it? That group's entire mission appears to be to do away with anyone being detained because they've entered a country illegally. It's not rocket science, is it? Let's deal with the claim now that some of them are children and the government doesn't use proper age verification checks. Now, a lot of charities have previously complained about the use of X-rays or MRI scans to determine the true age of an illegal immigrant. So are they now claiming that they want that? Are they? We have had countless ridiculous cases like this one, where a Sudanese migrant, who the authorities believe looked about 30 years old, was ruled to be a child by a judge. There's also the infamous case where a bloke who looked about 30 was placed in a GCSE maths class in Ipswich because he was judged to also be a child. So, look, forgive me for being a little bit sceptical when these migrant charities claim these people in detention are children and say they must be because local authorities have decided that they are. Let's deal with the claims that these migrants are now being traumatised in detention because of the use of handcuffs. On the 14th of January, there was a coordinated protest by around 100 asylum seekers at 2 detention centres. Now, I know you're thinking, how did they manage to coordinate this protest in 2 separate detention centres whilst being in the detention centres themselves? Could this have come from activists, I wonder? Well, they claim that they were peacefully resisting and the officers were too heavy-handed. Right, well, look, I'm sorry, but if you come to Britain illegally and you're put in a detention centre, you should expect to feel the full force of the law if you decide to protest in that detention centre. Anyway, on the 17th of September, Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood closed a loophole that would allow illegal migrants to keep appealing if they'd already had their claims for modern-day slavery rejected. And this is why the lawyers are angry, OK? What does it mean for the lawyers? Oh, they don't keep getting paid, do they? They will lose the income stream of being able to keep bringing these cases to court. That's why they're angry. This legal challenge is being launched by a coalition of 22 British and French charities. And I bet you any money that most of those charities will be riddled with open border fanatics. The whole thing is a farce. But if the government loses this court case, then it could scupper the already pathetic one-in, one-out deal that has so far seen us take more migrants from France than we've sent back. And they'll be spurred on, this lot, by the likes of this. A Green Party counsellor who, despite the recent case of an illegal Afghan migrant raping a 12-year-old girl, as well as, you know, all the other sex crimes being committed by illegals, decided to get her grandchildren to write Valentine's Day cards to illegals at the Crowborough Army Barracks. That is sick. Who does that? These people need their heads checking.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind the more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
Get the thoughts of my panel this evening. Director at Popular Conservatives, Mark Littlewood, pub landlord and activist Adam Brooks, and the journalist and broadcaster Nina Mishkov. Right, Mark, first things first, let's just deal with this legal challenge, right? Yep. They are using the full bingo card, yep, different things here, to try and keep these illegals in the country. Will it work?
You know what, it might work, Patrick, and you did a very good job of listing the entirety of the bingo card. What we've done is to completely bend and twist our entire immigration and asylum system such that these claims are allowed to be heard in a court of law. Shabana Mahmood is sort of using a scalpel to try and deal with this. We need a bazooka. We've got to completely reset the legal structure here. Look, I want us to be a humane country, right? I think there's evidence that people are being battered or tortured to death in an asylum holding cell. OK, investigate that. But we have tilted the odds so far in the direction of these people that every last farcical claim is being made. And look, you've hit on how this could eviscerate the one-in, one-out policy, the only policy that the Labour Party's brought in really to deal with the flow of incoming people. But the mathematical clue there is right on the tin, isn't it? Even if you get one in, one out, you're not going to affect the net zero. You're not going to affect the net numbers. So this is a disaster across the whole board. And until the Home Secretary and the Labour government say we're going to change the legal structure, it will persist.
I'm sorry about this. I've got a little bit of breaking news, actually. So you might remember, because it only happened about 2 hours ago, Jim Ratcliffe, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, one of Britain's best businessman, also now an owner of Manchester United Football Club, said this earlier on.
And huge levels of immigrants coming in. I mean, the UK is being colonised. It's costing too much money. It will cause...
It's been colonised.
It'll cause... Well, the UK is being colonised by immigrants, really, isn't it? I mean, the population of the UK was 58 million in 2020. Now it's 70 million. That's 12 million people.
You met recently with Nigel Farage, didn't you?
OK, so the breaking news in the past few minutes is that the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, has called for Sir Jim Ratcliffe to apologise. He's put a post out saying offensive and wrong. Britain is a proud, tolerant and diverse country. Jim Ratcliffe should apologise. Adam?
Ridiculous. Keir Starmer does not understand the feeling on the street. Foreigners are being put before us, the British taxpayer, before us, the people that were born here. Jim Ratcliffe is 100% right. And it might not sound great, but he's speaking the truth. This Prime Minister is a joke. He's a human rights lawyer that is pretending to sort out illegal immigration. We've had 20,000 odd in since the summer, 300 out on their pathetic deal. It's not even believable that they're trying anymore. Right. And it's not just the dinghies. They're coming over on lorries as well. Young Abby Johnson, that we know, that was sexually assaulted by an Iranian, came in on a lorry in 2024.
Yeah.
The numbers are off the charts. The public do not realise how many of these dangerous men are coming over here.
Dina, do you think that Starmer gets that he's got all the... So today at PMQs, for example, he rightly said, look, you know, my thoughts are with that incident that's taken place at the school recently with the alleged stabbing there, and also the victims of this shooting in Canada. He didn't mention his thoughts were with the 12-year-old girl who was raped by an Afghan illegal migrant, which, frankly, I think has been at the forefront of most people's minds for certainly the last 24 hours. Didn't mention that. Jim Ratcliffe, son's there, in an interview, by the way, during which he actually praises Keir Starmer, says he's a nice guy, he just doesn't think he's really able to get to grips with it, and maybe the apparatus of the state is wrong. And Starmer's got the time and the energy to call for Jim Ratcliffe to apologise for saying Britain is being colonised by migrants.
We are not being colonised by migrants.
Go to Bradford and say that, Nina.
Can I just get it slightly into what I'm going to say before you jump in? You said that only 300 or 200 people had been returned. The Labour government has actually returned over 30,000 people. So let's get that...
Now let's be honest who they are. They're not dinghy migrants. Be honest. Be honest to the people at home.
Let's just stick to the facts. Let's just stick to the facts, Adam.
Be honest who they are. They're not dinghy migrants.
They are... You have no idea who they are.
I do know that they're not dinghy migrants.
You went and counted every one of them, talked to them. Honestly, Adam, they've set.
They're visa overstayers, Nina.
They may be visa overstayers, but they are migrants all the same.
Can
we just say this? This country has only benefited down the years from groups of people who have come here. To say that, for instance, we are being overrun, saying we're overrun by the Jewish people when they came here after the war.
Statement.
No, that's not a ridiculous statement. That is
controlled immigration.
That was not controlled.
This country. 708,000 coming in a year is a ridiculous amount, and it is swamping this country and destroying our services.
But Boris Johnson did that. The most legal migrants.
So is Labour.
Labour is not doing that many.
Nina.
Look, that's dropped by 20%, more than 20%. Legal migrants.
Immigration is not illegal.
Legal migration.
But anyway, that's to do with Ratcliffe.
Nothing to do with this. Ratcliffe is catastrophising a situation which is completely wrong. Absolutely catastrophising it.
But hang on, the problem I've got is this. If the Prime Minister or any other politician, or indeed you, Nina, here on television, want to take on what Ratcliffe has said, let's have an argument and a debate about it.
Yep.
If the Prime Minister had come in and said, no, we haven't been colonised, actually, here's a ton of evidence that immigration has been wonderful for us. Here's a whole load of cities in which there's a high immigrant population which has done brilliantly. I think Jim Ratcliffe is wrong. That would be a political debate. He hasn't said that.
Nope.
He doesn't want a debate. He wants Jim Ratcliffe to apologise for putting forward that proposition.
Yep.
That is a soft cancel culture. Yep. The Prime Minister should respond to the point made. He can disagree with it and he should put forward his evidence. But he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want the debate. He doesn't want the argument.
But the point being that Ratcliffe is a man of influence. The fact that he owns the football, all of that.
Yeah.
So, but that is a really inflammatory thing to say.
What, the truth?
It is not the truth. You are not being colonised.
700,000 people coming in 1 year, 900,000 another. Is being swamped.
If you wish to say that what Ratcliffe said was false or wrong, or here's some empirical evidence against him, adduce that evidence.
Fine.
What Keir Starmer is saying is essentially he should be cancelled.
I
don't want this point to be raised.
I think Jim Ratcliffe is 100% correct.
Yeah, I've got to say,
But of course you do. You all do. You have the same view.
Go and ask.
You're hysterical about it.
Parts of Manchester, Birmingham, Tower Hamlets. You know, you could go on Bradford,
London.
Parts of Glasgow.
London is a perfect example of diversity that works.
Oh my God! A rape every hour.
No, you talk about a rape.
A quarter of sex crimes, foreign men. Is that brilliant? Yeah, let's cheer that.
Can I just give you one fact? Can I just give you one fact? One fact, Adam. Do you know that in this country, a child is sexually abused every 8 minutes? Well, frankly, there aren't enough migrants to go round. It's perpetrated by people...
Let's call them up and let's deport the foreign ones.
Well, you say that, but you must...
But Nina, the point is you're willing to have this debate. Props to you. You're willing to have this debate. The Prime Minister isn't.
Yeah.
The Prime Minister is not willing to debate against Jim Ratcliffe. Yeah. He just wants Ratcliffe to shut up.
Yeah.
Props to you. You're willing to fight back and put a counter case. I respect that, but Starmer is not willing to do that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think if we're calling for people to apologise, then Sir Keir Starmer should apologise.
Yeah.
Sir Keir Starmer should apologise for half the people that he's represented in his legal career. He should apologise for the small boats crisis that's continuing under his watch. He should apologise for the tidal wave of rape and sexual assaults that we're seeing committed by illegal migrants. He should apologise for not going all guns blazing about the Pakistani rape gang scandal in the way that Rupert Lowe has. If we're playing the apology game, Prime Minister, then there's a heck of a lot of things that you should apologise for.
And one message, if Jim Ratcliffe is watching this programme, well done. Don't you dare back down to our Prime Minister.
Oh,
double
stop
down.
it. Oh,
double
just
down, Jim.
stop it.
Please,
just
it's the truth.
Stop it.
OK, all right.
Stop it.
All right. OK, right, look, we've got a lot more